Fox Sports.
We are Black. We are Wisconsin.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's here. Rooted for the Brewers. They don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Nothing to make you feel young at heart like being at the old ballpark on a beautiful Sunday in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The tailgating is epic today, and a big crowd filing in here, celebrating the kids this afternoon here at Miller Park as the Brewers get ready to take on the Washington Nationals. And hi, everybody. We welcome you to Miller Park. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us today. The Brewers are wrapping up their quick 3-game homestand, and they need a win today to salvage at least one game in this 3-game series. And, Rock, they're going to give the ball to Kyle Loesch, who's coming off a fantastic month of July.
Yeah, the Brewers 5-1 in his 6 starts in the month of July. And his last time out against the Chicago Cubs, 6 scoreless innings. He gave up 5 hits. Every one of them singles, in the Brewers' 5-0 victory at Wrigley Field to start that consecutive win streak of 3 in a row for the Brew Crew. He's given up 1 run in his last 3 starts. That's how good Kyle Loesch has been. And talking about capping off a great month of July, 4-1 at 225 earned run average, and gave up 10 runs all month long, and 5 of those came in 1 start. So Kyle Loesch, the guy to have on the mound to avoid the sweep at the hands of the Nationals here today.
Kyle Loesch, the Brewers pitcher of the month in the month of July. Fun to be a kid at Miller Park today. Lineups and first pitch coming up.
Home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. and by Toyota. Let's go places. Welcome back to Miller Park. The Nationals and the Brew Crew here on Fox Sports Wisconsin, getting closer to first pitch. We're celebrating the kids today here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Big positive in yesterday's game, and of course over the last week or so, Rob Wooten out of the bullpen. 2 strong innings of relief, and this new Brewer hasn't allowed any runs yet, Davey.
That's right. You know, he's got good stuff. And the one thing about this young man, he can throw strikes. He has good command of his pitches, but he's a ground ball pitcher too. So, I mean, he was a closer in Nashville. He's coming up here in a little different role, but the good thing is that he can throw strikes and he can get outs.
Not intimidated by being on the big league level at all. All right, we are set for baseball. Brewers need a win today. Let's see if they can get it done with Kyle Loesch on the hill.
Set for baseball here at Miller Park. Brewers in their gold tops. A lot of families here at the ballpark today. Got a great crowd on hand. Harvey Keene bobblehead day. 72 degrees. Clear skies up above. Baseball the way it's supposed to be played in the natural sunshine. Great to have you with us. This is the final game of this series. The Brewers are headed on the road after this one today. They're headed to San Francisco. Starting a long road trip, San Francisco, Seattle, and then Texas. Well, Kyle Loesch and the Brewers getting set for the Nationals. No better way to get us started than to have a youngster get us going today.
Fans, today's Clements play ball kid is 8-year-old Kaylee Orson from Amherst, Wisconsin.
Play ball!
And with that, we will play ball. Nice job, Katie. I'll tell you, it is a great time to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin right now. The State Fair going on just a few miles down the road. Brewers baseball. There's Davey Johnson, last year's National League Manager of the Year, and his batting order today is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, with Denard Span leading off, Bryce Harper, then Ryan Zimmerman, Jason Wirth, Adam LaRoche, and Ian Desmond in the middle, Steve Lombardozzi, Kurt Suzuki, and Taylor Jordan rounding it out.
Well, Kyle Loesch making start number 23, coming off a terrific outing his last time out at Wrigley Field against the Cubs. 6 scoreless innings. Matter of fact, Kyle Loesch has allowed just 1 run in his last 3 starts, coming off a great month of July. 4-1 in 6 July starts. Let's check out the Menards Brewers defense. A bunch of changes today in Ron Renicke's lineup. Caleb Gindel in left, Logan Schaefer in right. Aoki gets today off. You got Scooter Gennett at second base, Juan Francisco at first, and back behind home plate, day game after a night game, Jonathan Lucroy.
Well, Lucroy and Loesch have been doing well together through the month of July. Logan Schaefer back in the starting lineup, and Gindel, who was swinging a red-hot bat on the last road trip, gets his chance once again today. Chris Davis got the start in left field yesterday. Now the Brewers send out the best they've had over a pretty good stretch of games now. Kyle Loesch trying to salvage his final game of the series as Denard Span takes strike 1, and away we go from Miller Park. Gary Darling calling the balls and strikes this afternoon, the crew chief. David Rackley, Jerry Meals, and Chris Conroy, the base umpires. Davey Johnson has Denard Span back at the top of his batting order today. He hit leadoff yesterday as well. And a little flare, fly ball into foul territory, and that'll bounce up into the seats. Washington is headed right back home. They've been on a brief 5-game road trip. They were swept in Detroit in a 2-game series and were outscored in that series 16-2. But they have come in here to Miller Park. They have won the first 2 games. Beat the Brewers 4-1 on Friday, and then a 3-0 shutout last night. First time the Brewers have been shut out since late April.
And Washington really not clicking on all cylinders offensively like they were a year ago, but you know, good pitching in this series has gotten them 2 wins in the first 2 games. Jason Worth back in the lineup. He's been swinging it pretty well. He's having a nice series.
And Worth had to leave yesterday's game. He's been dealing with some hamstring problems this year, and he was out early trying to get those hammies loose, and so he could continue to play. When you're swinging the bat as well as he is, you certainly want to be in the lineup. Two balls, 2 strikes on Denard Span. A couple of former Twins matching up here, and Loesch and Span, and Loesch strikes him out. Well, that's how his afternoon begins, with a strikeout.
And Kyle Loesch has been throwing an awful lot of strikes as of late. Walked 3 his last time out, and a very repeatable delivery. Not a whole lot fancy with that delivery. Pretty standard, and there's that cut fastball that he likes to throw to get the strikeout at 85 miles an hour.
So 1 gone on a strikeout from Loesch, and that'll bring up Bryce Harper. Harper homered here on Friday night. He made an impact in yesterday's game with his defense. Threw out a base runner, threw out Betancourt trying to stretch a single into a double. Harper was hitless last night. He was 0 for 4. Comes in batting .275. The home run he hit on Friday was his 16th of the season, and he has 37 games, and he missed about 30 games on the schedule with a knee injury. Spent some time on the disabled list. Hits that ball hard into left center. Gendel is there to make the play. Caleb Gendel got a good jump and reaches up to take extra bases away from Bryce Harper.
Yeah, had a good beat on that one. He angled back right away. The diagonal route to the baseball got him in position to make the catch. Boy, Harper smokes this ball. It sliced toward Gendel as it got out to the wall, which allowed Caleb to make the catch. Here's a nice play early in the game.
And you can tell Gendel is starting to get comfortable playing in left field. He's a very good outfielder, but got off to a very bad start in left field. And he even admitted, you know, the upper deck, the big league setting, he was a little bit freaked out by it all when he first got here. And so He said he has worked hard to take as many fly balls as he can during batting practice. Ed Cedar's done a lot of work with these young outfielders, trying to acclimate them to the big league setting. You have to deal with shadows and ribbon boards and upper decks and all kinds of things that you don't deal with in the minor leagues. Sounded like a broken bat. Easy little pop-up for Segura, and a good start for Kyle Loesch. A 1-2-3 inning. Brewers are coming up. Before they hit the road once again. Brewers are in a tough stretch right now where they are playing 16 out of 19 games away from Miller Park. These will be the last 3 games on the homestand here before they head to San Francisco next. Brewers coming in with a record of 46-64. And Logan Schaefer leading off for Renicky today. Schaefer, Segura, and Lucroy, followed by Gomez, Gindel, and Francisco. Bianchi, Jeanette, and Loesch round out the Piggly Wiggly batting order.
Well, Taylor Jordan making his 7th start as a Washington National. He came up at the end of June to make a start. He's been with the Nationals ever since. Very good numbers down in the minor leagues. 14 starts between AA and A ball and a 9-1 record. He is a ground ball pitcher.
Start number 7 in the big leagues for Taylor Jordan. He made 8 starts in AAA. He started the year in Single A, made 6 starts down there, and his last start was a good one against the New York Mets at Citi Field. He beat them, went 6 innings in that game, allowed just 1 run.
Another thing, he didn't walk many batters. He had 7 strikeouts in 6 innings and picked up his only win of the year. Throws a lot of ground ball outs, has a good sinker, slider, and a changeup, but just about 7 out of every 10 baseballs put into play against this young man on the ground.
Well, Taylor Jordan got the chance in the big leagues. Ross Detweiler going on the disabled list. Jordan, his 2nd career game in the big leagues was against Milwaukee back on the 4th of July. Made his big league debut against the Mets. That was back in late June, and then he beat the Mets his last time out, as we showed you. And there's been a little discussion about an innings limit for him. Taylor Jordan had 90 innings, Rock, in the minor leagues, combined with 2 stops.
Yes, he's at about 130 innings right now, and you want to minimize those innings for him.
Lombardozzi takes care of Logan Schaefer for out number 1. The Nationals defensively brought to you by Menards, and they'd like to step up their defensive game a little bit, especially over at third base. Ryan Zimmerman has 17 errors this season.
Yeah, he's having a rough time throwing the baseball. His shoulder injury has not allowed him to get on top. A couple of changes. Lombardozzi at second base, taking over for Rendon, and Kurt Suzuki gets a start behind home plate today.
Well, Suzuki in there for Wilson Ramos, who's had a nice series. Hit a home run yesterday. Gene Segura back in the 2-hole today. Jonathan Lucroy hits third. Brewers have had opportunities to score in the first inning of each of the last 2 games. Actually had leadoff doubles in the first inning and a runner at third, and it has ended up with runners at the corners in each of the last 2 first innings, and yet the Brewers have not been able to score. And Segura's been hitting third, and I think Renicky wants to put Segura back in that 2-hole today, see if he can get him a little more comfortable as he flies out for out number 2.
When you look at Taylor Jordan, a lot of his success comes with a deceptive delivery. He's got a kind of a funky arm action. He has that deep wrap in the back when he brings that baseball, toward home plate. Hides it pretty well, and that's why he's able to get that good sink. Hides it, gets on top, and it dives as it gets to home plate.
Well, if the Nationals do decide to protect the innings of Taylor Jordan, you might see him wrap up his season at the end of this month. Unlikely they would take him into September. You start putting the innings limit together, and of course the Nationals are probably the most famous as far as organizations with innings limits, as Lucroy hits that one hard into the left. Harper is on the run, and he's got it. Looking up into the sun, able to make that catch to end the inning. Nice play by Bryce Harper. He has shown a good glove in this series, and that was well done. Miller Park, especially on Sundays. Got some face painting going on today. Yeah, great crowd today, and a lot of folks in Wisconsin this time of year do the double header, the Brewers and the State Fair, and that's always a great time in Milwaukee.
Yeah, Freeway was packed coming into the ballpark today. Man.
Yes, it was. Had to take the alternate route to the ballpark
right
this afternoon as Jason Wirth leads off. Lowe starts him with strike 1. Good time zone. A lot of folks out on Lake Michigan. Had the air show this weekend as well. Our buddy Jeff Cirillo jumped out of an airplane yesterday. He was at the ballpark on Friday. They actually gave him a human being to jump out of the plane with a parachute. A tandem jump for Cirillo as Jason Wirth is hit by a pitch.
So he didn't go down there by himself.
But technically, he jumped out of a plane without a parachute, but he was strapped to another person who had a parachute.
Somebody that might remember to pull the chute. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes. It was all very good. As Funny talking to Jeff Cirillo. Still a very popular former Brewer.
Good guy.
Yeah, he had a great time. The Milwaukee Air and Water Show. So Jeff was telling us that the guy that was his tandem jumper was the guy that did the tandem jump with George H.W. Bush. 41.
So he knows
the first president.
So he
Bush.
knows what he's doing then.
Right. So I'm saying, hey, I think you're in pretty good hands if he's jumping with a former president. But that's been a lot of fun here this weekend as well. A lot of big crowds in the downtown area and on the lakefront.
We're going to see Cirillo when we go to Seattle.
Yes,
he lives up in that neck of the woods.
Sure does. He is a scout with the Angels now, Jeff Cirillo, if you're wondering. Adam LaRoche ahead in the count 2-0, and he pops this one up. Gomez will squeeze it for the first out as Worth retreats.
And Sunday, September 1st, the Brewers take on the Angels at 1 p.m. and all fans in attendance get a Gorman Thomas bobblehead, compliments of the Wisconsin National Guard. Visit Brewers.com for tickets. The Brewers are going to be wearing the 1969 Seattle Pilots uniforms that day. And there you go. Gorman's wearing one.
Well, the franchise moving from Seattle to Milwaukee, and prior to the 1970 season, Ian Desmond takes strike one.
I saw Gorman at the ballpark. What was it, Friday? Looking good.
Well, the Brewers honored Robin Yount on Friday night, the 20th anniversary of his number being retired. That hits Desmond. So Loesch has hit 2 batters in the second inning. And 2 on with 1 out. Looked like that got him on the arm, a glancing blow.
Yeah, 2 hit batters already in the first 2 innings, and throughout the entire season so far, Loesch did not have a hit batter. So obviously trying to establish inside on the Nationals today.
And that pitch didn't look like it was all that far inside. Hitters are always very aware of Kyle Loesch and the outside corner, especially his good cut fastball. As Lombardozzi chases a breaking ball. Sometimes pitchers miss inside, sometimes hitters get hit because they lean.
They're diving over the outside corner to make sure they're able to cover that part of the plate with guys like Loesch. Once in a while you got to straighten them up, and once in a while you're going to hit a batter. It's kind of surprising that Kyle has not hit a batter until today. As much as he relies on the outer part of the plate, once in a while they all come inside, but he's had good command in there.
2 on, 1 out. Lombardozzi at the plate. And there's strike 2.
Another pitch inside.
Loesch coming off that great month of July. He was named the Brewers pitcher of the month. Rock talked about it in our open today. He was 4-1 during the month of July with a .225 earned run average in 6 starts. Lombardozzi deep to right. Back is Schaefer at the track, and he leaps. He can't get it. Gomez will hustle it in, and they're going to have to hold Jason Worth. Worth and Desmond had to hold up to see if it was going to be caught, and because Gomez was right there to back up, he saves a run for the time being.
I'm not sure if Gomez being so close to Schaefer kind of disrupted Schaefer's concentration and ability to get to that baseball, because this is normally a catch that Schaefer's going to be able to make. He's going back, and you can see Gomez coming in hard, just jumped a little bit too soon, and that's about the longest single that you're going to see. And Brewers very fortunate that a run did not score.
Well, Schaefer is a very accomplished outfielder, but looked a little uncomfortable on that fly ball. He's typically been playing in left field, although he is a center fielder by trade. Bases loaded, 1 out, and here is Suzuki. There is a way out of this inning for Loesch, but this is the key batter with the pitcher Jordan coming up next. 2 hit batters and a long single. Suzuki came to the Nationals from the A's last year and was a big part of Washington's great finish and a 98-win season. They won the National League East last year. Were eliminated from the postseason by the Cardinals in that thrilling 5-game series. Kyle Loesch's St. Louis Cardinals.
Cut fastball looked like a very good pitch, not called by Gary Darling. Where was that? That's a big pitch, 2-0 as opposed to 1-1 with the bases loaded.
Right by him with a fastball.
No, you don't get those pitches on the corner. Kyle Loesch just did the best he could, and he got a swing and a miss out of Suzuki.
Now Suzuki, a ground ball candidate, does not run well. Brewers would love to turn one up here and get Loesch out of this inning. 2-1 the count. Goes to 2-2. He's been able to get back into it. Loesch had a good start against Washington in the postseason last year. Went 7 innings, gave up just 2 hits and 1 run. That was in the NLDS. Loesch got the win. Loesch pitched in the wild card play-in game. He started that game for St. Louis. Cardinals beat Atlanta. And then Loesch won, or rather pitched in game 4. And that was a game the Nationals won, but Loesch pitched well. I beg your pardon. It was that late rally, that Jason Worth walk-off home run in game 4 that extended that series to a game 5. Two and 2 to Suzuki. Instead, he scores. Everybody's safe. And an ugly beginning here to this ball game for the Brewers.
And not sure how they're going to score that. Probably a fielder's choice, because if Lucroy is able to grab this, it's going to be an easy out at home plate. You can see him spin his head around to see where the runner is, Lombardozzi. He would have been an easy out. Might be a fielder's choice and an error allowing Lombardozzi to score. Can't imagine how they can give him a sacrifice bunt.
And that'll be an error on Lucroy officially. E2. Not what you wanted to see to get a game started. 2 hit batters, 2 hits, now an error. 3 runs are in. Back to the top of the order in Denard Span. One ball, 2 strikes. Span struck out in the first inning. Nice quick inning for Loesch. This one has been anything but. Loesch had that rough month of May. That's been his only bad month of the season. He's dealing with some elbow tightness in May, also some hamstring tightness. And his numbers reflected such. He was 0-4 in May. He's only lost 1 game since the month of May. He's 6-1 since he took a loss at Minnesota on May 30th. 2-0 in June, 4-1 in July.
But he's worked so hard to get that record to even after starting the season 1-6.
Now we check in with Sophia.
Well, BA, talking with Kyle Loesch yesterday, you mentioned that elbow irritation he had to deal with, and they skipped a turn for him in the rotation to give him just some extra time to deal with that. And he said from that point on, he said his health has been much better. He feels he's gotten his slider back. He's had better location. He said he's not just throwing strikes, but he's been throwing quality strikes, he feels. He says those are the kind that help you get out of jams. Trying to work out a one here early.
Yeah, he's a great teammate. He's a pro. He knows what he's doing. And you give him credit for trying to pitch through an injury. I think the lack of spring training caught up to him a little bit. Rick Kranitz said as much last week as well. You know, you go through spring training and then you're all amped up and the adrenaline kicks in. You're pitching for a new team. And he was pretty good in the month of April, but then it all started to unravel in the month of May as he got his season settled in.
No, and that's why spring training is as long as it is. You're going to go through dead periods of time where your arm's not feeling very well, and it's kind of the situation he ran into in the month of May, as opposed to doing it in spring training. It was during the regular season. That's not the time. You don't want to have that dead arm period then, that's for sure.
And he did as much as he could. He's a very diligent worker, and those who have played with him and they know his style, he's an extremely hard worker off the field. Takes care of his his workout routines, and very disciplined in that regard to keep his arm strong. But it's another thing when you're doing it on your own, and he was facing college teams and various games that he could try to put together with college teams and amateur players. That can only take you so far, though, as opposed to a structured setting of a major league ball club.
We have the routine of working out and getting your running in, and just the everyday routine of spring training does as much to get you ready for the season as the physical part of throwing.
3-2 to Span, and he fouls one off. This is a tough at bat here for Kyle Loesch. Already throwing a lot of pitches, and Span keeps fouling pitches off. He'll see at least 9.
And the two-seam fastball to Span, down and away, but able to fight it off.
Still just 1 out. And another 3-2 pitch. Span pops this one up. Segura is back. Gindel is in. And there is out number 2. That was a battle with Denard Span.
That finally got him on an off-speed pitch. And not willing to give in to give Span a good pitch to hit, and end up getting the pop out.
Now Loesch hit a couple of batters, but this is an inning that should not have been. A catchable ball in right center, and then the error by Lucroy. So now Bryce Harper with 2 on and 2 out. 3 runs are in. Harper hit one hard in the first inning, lined out into the gap in left center. Gindel ran it down.
Dangerous pitch right here. Loesch, the 2-0 count. We saw Harper hit a ball off a Burt Baden hop. He was ahead in the count. A fastball knocked it in the second deck in the right. Look out here. With the breaking ball.
And ball 3.
Cutter.
You can tell Loesch is not real pleased with the strike zone early.
And there's been a couple of close pitches that Gary Darling has not given him, but for the most part his command isn't what he wants it to be in this inning.
3-0. See if Harper has the green light. And there's a strike. Well, this is when you got to dig deep as a starting pitcher. Things are not starting well for Kyle Loesch. trying to grind away and get through this inning. Hit the restart button. 2 on, 2 out. Hitters count for Harper. And he had him out in front, fouled it off his foot. Pulled the string on him on a 3-1 pitch.
Yeah, 3-0. He's throwing him a cutter and a changeup. And he's certainly not willing to give Harper a fastball with the count in his favor. There's that grip, the Vulcan grip, and see the rotation going away from Harper. He's out in front.
Well, he's right back in the count. Certainly has Harper thinking a little bit. And you wonder what he goes to here. 3-2. Runners will take off. Full count, 2 outs. And Harper out in front of that one. Lifts it in the air to left. Well, a good comeback by Kyle Loesch to get Harper to end the inning. Brewers kicking around a little bit. 3-0 Nats. Got some balloons going. I love it. Great day at the ballpark today. Things not going so well on the field just yet. Down 3-0. A lot of baseball to be played. Some balloon animals. Every time I see a clown like that, I think about Bryce Harper. You know what he would say with that clown? He would say, "That's a clown question, bro."
Yeah.
And today it really would be if that clown was to ask him a question. He would say that's a clown question, and she would say that's right.
That's the way to put it all together. I mean, that happened last year, and
Just saying.
that got a lot of attention. And
You know, what we do up here right now is a lot like what those clowns are doing right now with those balloon animals.
right,
It's a clown question, bro.
trying to twist things together. Is that what you're saying?
Make something out of it. That was a nice comeback by Loesch to get Harper. They could have done some severe damage down in the count at 3-0 at one point. He comes back to get him.
Could have been a lot worse, but it certainly could have been a lot better for the Brewers in that inning.
All right, so bottom of the second inning, and Taylor Jordan back on the mound after the Nationals bring 8 batters to the plate, score 3 runs. It was an error and a misplay. You see the Powerball home run leaderboard. Carlos Gomez with 17 home runs, the club leader. Well, maybe Bryce Harper inspired this ball club. Hard to figure that would be the case, but had some pretty critical thoughts after the loss in Detroit on Wednesday. Nationals were destroyed on Wednesday 11-1 at the hands of the Tigers, and after the game Bryce Harper said, "We're not playing as a family, we're not playing with passion, but there's still time." And they've come here to Milwaukee and they've played 2 very good ball games and have won the first 2. Nice play at short by Desmond to get Gomez. This guy's put on a clinic at shortstop in this series as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many shortstops in the game that have a better throwing arm than Ian Desmond. I mean, from any angle. Picked that one up barehanded, and a very strong throw to first base.
Well, Caleb Gendel, over his last 7 games, has been a red-hot hitter. He's 10 for 24. And there were 5 consecutive starts for Gendel where he had 2 hits in each of those games. And he has earned a lot of playing time here lately because of it.
That's the key. I mean, hitting the ball all over the field just like that right there.
Well hit down in the corner. Harper cannot get there. That's a fair ball. Bounces up off the wall. Gendel taking about third. He's on his way. The throw from Harper off the mark. And a triple for Caleb Gendel.
And no sooner get it out of your mouth talking about the opposite field that Caleb Gendel tucks one down in the corner and left. Remember, that is where his walk-off home run game winner went, right down that line. First career triple for Gendel. On a pitch up in the zone, a pitch that a lot of guys would try and pull. And he just gets it down in the corner for a 1-out triple.
You know, that replay showed that ball might have hit the blue wall up above the padded wall. Davy Johnson is out as Gendel at third base with a triple, but you could see where Davy Johnson's argument would be that could have been ruled a ground rule double.
Well, Bryce Harper, I mean, he was in the process of trying to scramble after that baseball, but you know, no comment from him or no motion from him indicating where that ball bounced.
So a triple it is. And here is Juan Francisco with one away. Now this is a spot where the Brewers have to improve the rest of the season. Getting in runners, the situational hitting. And a runner at third, less than 2 outs. A lot of ways to score this run. Pop-ups and strikeouts are what you're trying to avoid in a spot like this. And if you're Juan Francisco, you'd love to hit one in the seats.
Anything but that. But I mean, the infield's back. Davy Johnson's been very consistent in that with 1 out early in the ball game. Infield back, just put it in play.
1 ball, 1 strike on Francisco. Francisco back in the starting lineup today. Betancourt started at first yesterday. Brewers still searching for consistent play at first base on both sides. Have used 7 different first basemen this year. 1-2 to Francisco. Just got a piece. You know, it starts to get in your head a little bit as a hitter. This has been an area of concern for the Brewers. There's been a lot of discussion about it. Brewers know they have to improve. And it seems like Francisco is the guy who is usually at the plate in spots like this.
Well, it's just a matter of trying too hard. I mean, it's not just Francisco. It's the group in general. When you're having a tough time scoring runs, you get into these spots and you press. You want to get the job done, and you make matters worse when you do that.
Well, as far as in the context of baseball goes, the most uncomfortable place to be on a baseball field is to not have confidence at the plate and feel like you're jumping a little bit, and Francisco has been doing that. Pitchers are attacking him with a lot of off-speed pitches. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Francisco on the ground to LaRoche, and that will bring in the run.
There you go.
So he gets the job done with 2 strikes.
And he got a breaking pitch, able to stay back and ground it to first base. So with the infield back, that's all it takes. You get them back in little pieces. You don't try and get them back all at once. Well, Francisco drives in the run. Yeah, breaking ball down and in. He goes down, he makes contact, and getting able to score.
Well, shorten up his swing a little bit. And a good job. Hoping for a base hit. But you'll settle for that. And the Brewers are on the board here in the second. And now Jeff Bianchi.
Yeah, think about how young and inexperienced this Brewers lineup is today. When you consider everybody in the lineup. I mean, Gomez, Lucroy has, those two guys have the most experience out there. All part of the process, learning how to be consistent at this level. It takes some time, and when you have this many young guys in the lineup, it makes it even worse. Or I should say not worse, but just makes it tougher. To be consistent offensively.
Yeah, Ron Renicky and his coaching staff spending a lot of time trying to make sure these guys aren't pressing so much. Everybody's trying to impress. And when you try to impress, sometimes you press. And trying to remain consistent in that regard. I think they break it down into such detail. You might not get a hit in a particular at bat. That Francisco at bat's a perfect example. He gets high fives when he goes in. Obviously, he wanted to drive in a run with a hit, but he'll take the RBI with a ground out. It's just those baby steps.
Yeah, well, they're all fighting for playing time, and they feel like they're being judged on each and every at bat, every game, and everybody but Segura, Lucroy, Gomez, they're all trying to make their mark. They're all trying to convince Ron Renicky that they deserve playing time, and I mean that's a definition of pressing. And again, I think it's one of the reasons why Carlos Gomez has had such a good year. He doesn't feel as though he's fighting for playing time anymore, and he's more relaxed.
Yeah, signing a multi-year contract extension. It's not always the case. You certainly have to earn your keep in this game. 1-2, and Bianchi, a little lazy fly ball to right, and Worth is there for the out. The inning is over, but the Brewers are on the board, and it was Caleb Gendel who jump started the inning with a 1-out triple and continues to swing a red-hot bat. His first triple of his career. He scores the first run.
And all fans in attendance today are receiving a Harvey Keene bobblehead. He was the American League Manager of the Year in 1982, the year the Brewers went to the World Series, and he was the namesake of Harvey's Wallbangers. So on our AT&T Twitter poll, we're asking fans to weigh in. Who was the best hitter of that bunch? Cecil Cooper, Gorman Thomas, Paul Molitor, or Robin Yount? It was fun to see Robin Yount on Friday and relive some of those memories, BA.
And I know who has won the best headshot among that group by far of those four. The Gorman Thomas headshot. Easily recognizable. Cecil Cooper. I mean, look at Gorman. It's like he just rolled out of bed. Said, just take the picture.
Looks like he just got done wrestling an alligator. Good old Spike. Love having Gorman around. He's a fantasy camp coach each and every year, and he's in charge of keeping the guys entertained. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do much physically, you know, throwing batting practice, things like that.
Right.
He spends most of the time giving me a hard time, and as a result, all the campers enjoy his participation.
Kyle Loesch walks Ryan Zimmerman to start the 3rd inning. He also spends a lot of time with one of those air horns in his back pocket.
Right.
So he'll sneak up behind you and hit you with the air horn. But turnabout's fair play at one fantasy camp, as I recall.
Right. They got him.
They got him back. Is Gorman a fantasy camp coach this season?
Yes, he is. Yep. Gorman, Gantner. Cecil Cooper, as a matter of fact, he's coming back. Cirillo's coming. Don Money has been officially added to the list.
Nice.
Of course, Ed Cedar will be there, and Jerry Augustine.
There it is. Registration is underway.
And then we just had our fantasy camp reunion Thursday and Friday.
Just log on to brewers.com/fantasy camp. Yeah, that includes not only the 2 weeks in Arizona, but also the game here at Miller Park. Make sure all those skills and all the instruction stuck on a big league field.
Yep, you have the Brewers training staff that will take care of you. You got plenty of Miller products,
which go hand in hand, by the way.
Yeah.
It's all part of the recovery. His Worth is that a foul ball or a hit batter? Gary Darling says foul ball to make it 0-2, and Worth doesn't agree.
You can see that pitch. I mean, it's really not that close to being, you know, hitting Worth. I mean, he's just diving on the outside corner. You know, we have seen Worth in the first 2 games of this series just wear out right field. Having a discussion with Gary Darling, thinking that ball hit him. Here comes Davey Johnson.
Davey's first words out of his mouth, he said it hit him. You can read his lips.
And he's never lied to me.
He said it hit him.
May have hit him in the hand. I don't know.
Tough one to call. You got to go more on the how it sounds, I would imagine. It's an instant reaction. So Worth is taking a lot of time here. Worth's argument to Gary Darling is that it still hurts.
You know, the hand and the bat have very similar sounds. I mean, especially when you have that grip on the bat. It's almost one and the same.
Now Worth stands right on top of the plate, and that first step is toward the plate.
And his hands hang right over the inside corner.
I remember Worth with the Phillies, and you know, you had so many of those Phillies hitters during that stretch. A lot of hit by pitches. Victorino, Rollins, Utley, Worth, all of those guys stood right on top of the plate. Well, the count goes to 3-2 now. Loesch had him 0-2. A leadoff walk. Loesch just doesn't look like himself early. Had a good start in the first inning. Zimmerman takes off. Worth pops it up. That's a long run for Jeanette. Schaefer is coming in. They're both looking at each other, and that ball falls.
Well, it'll be a base hit, but somebody's got to catch that baseball. That was up in the air an awfully long time. Tough play for Scooter Jeanette. It looked as though Schaefer got there, but just kind of peeled off. I'm not sure if Jeanette said something. It certainly didn't act like he called it. Both of them looking at each other, and nobody catches it. That's Logan Schaefer's baseball all the way. I mean, he got there in time. He just was not in the vicinity because didn't think he thought that Jeanette was going to make the catch.
Interesting visit to the mound here. Ron Renicky to Kyle Loesch, and just as Lucroy was wanting to come out and join the meeting, Renicky kind of held the hand up and said, "This is just between us."
Yeah. You don't need to hear what I'm going to say about Loesch's defense today.
Renicky felt like he needed to say something to Loesch privately, as private as you can be in front of 35,000.
Right. He's just not getting a lot of help from his defense.
So 2 on, nobody out, and here is LaRoche. Loesch against LaRoche. Ball and a strike. Adam LaRoche homered yesterday. Nationals are hoping his bat will be a factor for the rest of the year. He's had a down season, hitting just .231 with 15 homers and 47 driven in. Has 48 home runs over the last 2 years, most by a first baseman in the major leagues in that stretch.
Man, hit a home run to left field in last night's ball game. Put a charge into one against Donovan Hand. Did a lot of that last year. Opposite field power.
Now you can tell Loesch is grinding out there trying to find it. It's not normally how he goes. Loesch has such great command of all of his pitches. 2-2 to LaRoche, looking for a ground ball. And that one misses low. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And the thing is that the Nationals aren't biting on the pitches out of the zone. You know, very patient at the plate. Making him throw strikes.
A leadoff walk, then a single, a bloop single. Loesch retired the side in order in the first on just 12 pitches. Took him 34 to get through the second inning. And this is pitch number 65. Nobody out in the third. Got him. A strikeout. LaRoche is down. And Kyle Loesch with his second K.
Got him with a fastball up and away, and looked like Loesch swung at a pitch out of the strike zone that time. Two-seamer. Stayed up. A little bit off the outside corner, but LaRoche chased it.
Well, here is Ian Desmond now, who was hit by a pitch in the second. Loesch hit 2 batters in the second. Both scored. Desmond, the Silver Slugger Award winner last year among the National League shortstops. There's some good offensive shortstops in the National League. Troy Tulowitzki is at the top of the class and an all-star starter once again. You can add Gene Segura to that group now. No other shortstop over the last 2 seasons has hit more homers than Desmond. 41 home runs, combining his last year's numbers with this.
And in a relatively tough ballpark to hit home runs. Nationals Park.
1-2. Bouncing ball, got a chance to turn it. Jeanette, Segura, low throw, dug out by Francisco, and Kyle Loesch gets through it. No runs in. Let's see if the Brewers can get it going here today. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Beautiful Sunday in Milwaukee. Now Fox Sports is proud to partner with Johns Hopkins Medicine, one of this year's Fox Sports supports charities. Johns Hopkins is at the forefront of groundbreaking research into autoimmune disorders like multiple sclerosis and lupus. Join us in the fight against autoimmune diseases. Donate now by visiting hopkinsmedicine.org/Fox. Taylor Jordan back on the mound. Brewers scored a run in the second inning. Gindel tripled and then was driven in by Francisco on a ground out. So it's 3-1. Bottom of the third, and Scooter Jeanette takes strike one.
Oh, nice job by Loesch to get out of that mess. Got the double play ball after the strikeout, and he's only down by 2.
It's going to be very interesting to hear from Ron Renicky after this game about that meeting at the mound with Loesch. Not sure he'll tell us what he said, but I'm curious to know what he was talking about. You rarely see that. You rarely see a manager go to the mound without making a pitching change in the first place. But then you rarely see a manager go to the mound and he only wants to talk to the starting pitcher.
Pep talk, and obviously Loesch has not been blessed with great defense behind him today, and that was probably part of the discussion.
Jeanette strikes out, and Suzuki puts the tag on him quickly to secure it. And Scooter Jeanette is out, first out of the inning. A Charter high-speed pitch. Taylor Jordan and Kyle Loesch. Jordan's got a big fastball. He's hit 96 already. Loesch at 91. They must have put a hot ligament in that right arm of Taylor Jordan when they did the Tommy John surgery. That was in 2011.
Yeah, guys usually come back better than they were, before their injury. That's the way it is, and that's how advanced that surgery is these days. They say there's some kids down in high school and college getting that surgery before they need it, knowing that at some point they're going to end up with that surgery. So I'm not sure if I agree with that philosophy.
Surgery should always be a last resort.
Right.
And to get on a soapbox here for 1 second, if you think surgery is going to help you, fix a certain part or help your fastball, if you don't have the work ethic to strengthen the muscles around that elbow and in your pitching arm, you might get a temporary fix with surgery, but you're ultimately going to be right back in the same position. So I think one of the other areas that you don't hear much about, and I've had conversations with a lot of pitchers who have had Tommy John, it refocused them after the surgery on a disciplined workout regime to strengthen that muscle and to strengthen the pitching arm more so than what led up to the surgery. So that's typically what allows a pitcher to sustain it.
And a lot of players that have had that surgery tell you that after the surgery, when they come back, they appreciate their time in the major leagues even that much more. I think sometimes you take it for granted, but after you're that close to ending your career.
Well, Kyle Loesch is rung up on a pitch that he knows he's thrown and should have gotten a strike earlier in this game, and he is hot.
Well, nobody knows better what's being called a strike than Kyle Loesch out there, and Gary Darling early in this ball game anyway was really not ringing up strikes, but got Loesch on a borderline pitch right there.
So back-to-back Ks for Jordan. Now the man who invented the Tommy John surgery, or the ligament replacement surgery, Frank Jobe, was honored by the Hall of Fame this year. As Logan Schaefer sends that one deep to right. Worth is back, and he's got it just in front of the fence. And a 3-up, 3-down inning for Taylor Jordan. 3-1 Nationals. We head to the fourth. We head to the top of the fourth inning from beautiful Miller Park. Saturday, August 17th, fans will have the opportunity to donate $40 in exchange for a mystery bag, which will contain an autographed baseball by a Brewers player. Brewers wives will be stationed at tables throughout the ballpark selling the mystery bags until they are sold out. Proceeds go to the Brewers Community Foundation in support of the Maida House. Loesch back to work as we go to the fourth. Steve Lombardozzi leads off. Heading to the bottom of the order. Loesch doing a nice job to get through a mess in the third after a leadoff walk and a hit. Lombardozzi down the line. That's going to drop. Gendel recovers the throw to second, and Lombardozzi is just in there. A hustle double by Steve Lombardozzi. And the third straight inning, the Nationals have their leadoff batter aboard.
And Lombardozzi, a switch hitter, not getting a lot of playing time because of Rondon, the way he's been playing, and Got a high fastball, just slices it right down that left field line. He's kind of got the approach of his dad, Steve Sr. I played against Steve Lombardozzi Sr. He was a member of the Minnesota Twins.
Well, a man on for Suzuki, who drove in 2 with a single in the second inning. That was the big hit in that 3-run inning. Loesch got Suzuki to 2 strikes before he shot one to the opposite field to drive in a pair. And another breaking ball misses. 2 balls, no strikes on the Nationals' backup catcher. Nationals were in a tough spot last year without a catcher. Wilson Ramos was lost for the season. Tore his ACL, had to have knee surgery. So they made a deal to get Suzuki, and he instantly settled things down behind the plate.
Man, he is a very good defensive catcher. I mean, calls a very good game. Solid behind home plate. Has never been a guy that is going to hit much. Batting average of .221 coming in. But when everybody else in the lineup is hitting, you can afford to have a catcher back there like a Suzuki. Get pitchers through games, but when you're not scoring runs, that's when guys like that end up finding their way on the bench.
And it was about a year ago this time when he was traded. It was after the trade deadline, the non-waiver trade deadline, which ends July 31st. He was traded on August 3rd. So what that means is when you trade a player during this particular month in August, you have to make that a player available to all the other teams. You have to, they call it waivers, and when they clear waivers, or if another team claims that player, then you can work out a trade. But all the other teams are in a position to pick up that player. A little slow roller out to Loesch. Suzuki is retired. That'll work just like a bunt, though. And Lombardozzi advances to third.
They come out to Miller Park as the Brewers host the Cincinnati Reds in a 4-game set. That's Thursday, August 15th through Sunday, August 18th. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com.
And I guess the bottom line of all of that concerning the trades, and just because there weren't a whole lot of deals made at the trade deadline of July 31st, there is this period on the waiver wire deals where you can make some impact trades this time of year, and I think Suzuki fits in that mode from last year.
He can't have enough good catching. I mean, really, a team that's looking to get to the postseason.
Bouncer to Segura. He bobbles, recovers, and makes the play to get Jordan for the second out, and that keeps the runner Lombardozzi at third base.
Man, one of those days for the Brewers defense. Nothing coming easy. Well, you have days like that. Well, the infield in, and with the pitcher at the plate, beats it into the ground. I think Segura had his head up a little bit, but able to recover to get the out.
All right, so 2 outs. Still a runner at third, and Denard Span coming up. You have to always respect the bunt with Span at the plate. That's why Bianchi is in on the grass at third base. It also creates some holes in the infield. The challenge with Span lately, he's been making a lot of outs in the air. Strikeouts or fly ball outs. Little jam shot. Segura will squeeze it for the final out, and Loesch putting up back-to-back zeros. Brewers trail 3-1. We're headed to the bottom of the fourth. Always good fun at the ballpark. You know, at a certain age, you can start to nestle up next to Bernie. Yeah. And we have our kids on the mic announcing the hitters.
And welcome Toyota Junior announcer, 8-year-old Jack Gels from Franklin. He'll announce the first 3 Brewers batters this inning.
Leading off with the Brewers, number 9, Gene Segura.
And as luck would have it, Gene Segura is leading off. So that's all part of the fun here at Miller Park. Kids always get a chance in a half inning in the junior announcer program, to announce the batting order.
I would imagine the kids that do that have a tough time with Betancourt if he's up in that inning. I mean, Gene Segura, relatively easy name to pronounce.
Right.
But the kids do a pretty good job.
All coached up by Rob Edwards, the terrific PA announcer, who takes this inning off. There he is. Always Mike's side, just in case. Segura off the end of the bat, and Harper is there for the out.
Well, there's been a lot of that the last couple of nights.
Next batter, number 20, Jonathan Lucroy.
And they're not booing you, Jack. That's what they do when Lucroy comes to bat. It's Luke. Carsuit.com email the booth question today from Dan in Waukesha. Do you think will be designated hitter on the next road trip? Who do you think will be the designated hitter in Seattle?
Well, with right-handed pitching, I think it'll be Francisco. I think that's an easy one. I mean, right now, the way the Brewers lineup is put together and the guys that are out there, I don't think anybody really needs any time off defensively. I think Francisco would be a likely candidate. I think when Lucroy is not catching, he might serve that role.
Well, it's possible that Aramis Ramirez could be returning to the active roster. He's hoping to return to the active roster on this next road trip. Taking batting practice, taking ground balls. The last step for him will be to do some base running drills to see if the knee is stable enough. Every time I see Aramis Ramirez, I ask him how he's doing. He goes, I'm getting better. But then he's not activated off the DL, so I'm not sure where he came from, but he's getting better in very slow increments. He's hoping to return soon. He wants to make sure he's 100% before he comes back. And the way this year has gone, it's not that pressing to force him back into the lineup. He already did that once, and it was not effective. So get it all the way healed, that left knee injury. Full count to Lucroy with 1 out. And a bouncing ball to LaRoche. Out number 2.
Next batter, number 27, Carlos Gomez.
Good job, buddy. He was a junior announcer, and he's captured the day perfectly.
Yes, he has.
You'd be a good journalist. Here's Gomez. So the drill is you only get 3 batters.
Right.
If Gomez gets a hit, then I think Rob Edwards then resumes his duties. You don't want him to get complacent over there. 2-0 to Gomez, and that one misses. 3 balls and no strikes. Taylor Jordan has given up just 1 hit. That was a triple by Gendel. Then Francisco drove him in on a ground out. 3-0, and he lost him. Ball 4. So we will have a 4th batter, and back to the paid professional.
Next batter, number 50, left fielder Caleb Gendel.
Golden pipes right there, Rob.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So if we show the kid announcer, the junior announcer, I mean, you can't not show Rob Edwards, I mean, in that same inning.
That's what I'm thinking.
You can't play favorites like that.
I think we're going to show Rob Edwards announce every batter the rest of this inning. Gendel out in front of an off-speed pitch.
There's a good changeup from Jordan. He's got a good one.
Well, Brewers need a quick strike. Need something to get the crowd into it. This day is dragging a little the way the Brewers are playing. It's 3-1. The Brewers are right there. Gendel gave him a spark with that triple in the 2nd. And there's strike 2. Oh, and 2 the count. Might see Gomez take off. And Gendel lays off. Close pitch. Put it where he wanted it, though. 94-mile-an-hour fastball out there, and Gendel with a good take. You like Jordan, he stands on that mound ready to go. As soon as he gets the ball back from the catcher, he is ready for the sign. Little cue shot by Gendel. Well, back in the 2nd, our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery. Caleb Gendel, a triple with 1 out, his first career triple in the major leagues. And that set up the Brewers' run. Just keeping an eye on Bryce Harper all the way, and that ball rattled around in the corner.
Hey, you don't need the help of the coach when you have the play in front of you. Now that ball's down in right field corner, a little bit different situation. As soon as Gendel gets close to 2nd, he's looking at Ed Cedar. And he will determine whether he goes to 3rd base.
Gendel in the air to left. Harper easing back. And that will retire the side. 3-1 our score. The Nats have the lead. We're on our way to the 5th.
We head to the top of the 5th, and Brock Clygaard of the Huntsville Stars makes our Marshfield Clinic shining stars of the future. Last night against Mississippi, he went 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. This part of an 18 home run season for him. The Stars lost this one 6-5 against the Braves. Kyle Loesch back to work for the Brewers. He told me yesterday that this has been a fun season in a different way for him because of the leadership he's been able to take with so many young guys in the rotation. He says he sees a lot of potential with this group. Says he's just trying to teach them what he wishes he knew as a young pitcher. And he says, I'm not going to mess too much with the guys' mechanics because everybody is different. But just things like being consistent in your mental approach, executing your game plan. He said, I'm just trying to help these guys out as much as I can.
Man, he's done a good job in that regard. Thanks, Sophia. And I've been impressed with him. You know, he's been on a lot of winning ball clubs in his career and expected this to be a winning club this year. That's one of the reasons he wanted to sign with the Brewers, as Harper rolls one to Francisco for out number 1. So, Loesch has been to the mountaintop as far as a player. He has a World Series ring with the Cardinals back in 2011. And hopefully the Brewers can put together the pieces to contend next year. But in the meantime, Loesch really enjoys pitching here. He was talking about this the other day, how much he enjoys this ballpark and this environment in Milwaukee. Always appreciated it as a visiting player. And you know, he's had his son out, had him in uniform yesterday, and Brewers have always been really good about allowing the players to have their kids at the ballpark. You know, the boys can come out and be in uniform. I think that's an attractive thing for a free agent.
Yeah, the guys are away from their families long enough. I mean, on the road trips, and you know, when you get an opportunity to get home and you're playing and the family's around, you know, let them hang out a little bit. That doesn't hurt anything. Some organizations, or most, don't allow that. Now, Loesch has been a great influence. I mean, not just on the field, but off the field. He's teaching these guys how to handle themselves as big leaguers. He's a class act. One of those guys that'll buy dinner, you know, for some of the young players. Kind of a throwback in that regard. You don't see many guys do that anymore.
Yeah, he's typically the guy that, you know, secures the baseball, and the guy gets his first big league hit. It was a nice moment on the road in Denver when Rob Wooten got his first strikeout. He makes sure he got the ball for him, and that's a base hit by Zimmerman. Gendel cuts it off. Zimmerman will hold up around first base. So Ryan Zimmerman has been aboard twice, a walk and a single. And back to the stretch goes Loesch.
And today's time of the game winner is the Armstrong Creek Pub in You guessed it, Armstrong Creek, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin. And Miller Lite beer pen's always crowded. That is never a section with many seats available anyway. Got the Miller Lite beer pen. You got the Miller Lite party deck up there, and I still think we should do a game from up there.
I'm ready. Who do you got to know to set up a headset up there?
I think we know the right people. It's just a matter of whether they will allow us to do it. There's the beer pen. Just above that, in the third deck, is the party deck. There it is. That looks like a lot of fun.
We might just spend the whole series out there, and then we'll move up a little higher than that and call a game from the dew deck up there on top of the rock climbing wall. How about that? Since you're bouncing us all over, you want to go up there?
I'm not big on climbing that that rock wall, but I'll stand by it.
Look at that guy jumping around. There's a monitor up there. We found you. Worth swings and misses. 2-1. There he is. Climb that rock wall.
You'd have a tough time scaling that thing right now, wouldn't you?
I would.
A little banged up.
I'm a little down right now. Got a little got some rib problems. Torn cartilage. It's okay.
You know what? But you're still working, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, my job doesn't really require much, except for sitting and talking, which. Bouncing ball. Segura lays out and goes to the bag. Throw to first in time. Wow. What a double play that was. Gene Segura, 6-3 double play. From a dive to his feet to the bag, and then a perfect throw to get Worth. That was something special by the Brewers shortstop.
Of August, fans will eat free at each August home game. Fans will receive a $10 voucher valid for food, drink, tickets, and merchandise. For details, visit brewers.com/eatfree. This is part of the Fans First initiative. So again, fans will receive one voucher per ticketed fan for each game. And with Jeff Bianchi on deck, you know, they definitely miss Aramis Ramirez. They are hopeful that he can make a return as the designated hitter on the road trip. They will have 5 games between Seattle and Texas with an off day in between. Ron Renneke hopeful that Aramis would be available as the DH and possibly, you know, play a few games of defense as well, get him back into that Brewers lineup.
Sounds like a perfect way to get Aramis Ramirez back in the fold with the Brewers, and hopefully he can have a good strong finish, give him some confidence moving into next year that his knee is going to be stable. And you know, he'll spend this offseason, making sure that he is ready to compete next year. Aramis Ramirez, who will be in the final year of his contract next season.
Yeah, I forgot all about Aramis. I mean, that's kind of the way it is. We haven't seen him on the field in ever so long, and boy, that knee injury has created more problems for Ramirez than anybody would have figured. He's been out a long time. Well, perhaps it will be Ramirez in that DH role. Boy, it's been a long time since the Brewers have been in Seattle. 97.
Yeah, the year before the switch to the National League. There's a hot one right to Desmond. Boy, that ball was on him in a hurry. Makes a nice play for the out.
Although right out of spring training, I think the Brewers went to Seattle for some exhibition games. I think that was right about the time that new ballpark opened up.
Safeco Field is a beautiful ballpark. I've been there on a number of occasions, and it's something special. I know there are a lot of Brewers fans who are going to be making that trip to go to Seattle, some to San Francisco. It's always fun to have Wisconsinites following the Brewers on the road, and that's a great spot. Safeco Field. It's more like a cover, not a roof, because even when they cover the stadium, it doesn't seal it off. So, you know, if it's 50 degrees in Seattle, it's 50 degrees in the ballpark, but the roof does keep all the rain off.
Well, they're saying it's going to be around 50s. It's going to be in the 50s in San Francisco and Seattle this week.
Bouncing ball to Desmond. 2 up, 2 down. A reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. Feels like we know the Mariners so well because we see them so much at spring training every year in the Cactus League in Arizona. Mariners train in Peoria. They share a facility with the Padres. And of course, there are Brewers ties with the Mariners as Scooter Gennett goes into the gap. That's gone for extra bases for Gennett. So a 2-out double in the 5th. The second Brewers hit, and both have come by the left-handed hitters in the lineup.
They stayed on that nicely on a sinker that stayed up in the strike zone. It was going away from Gennett. Got it outer half, and a nice approach by Gennett. Front shoulder stays closed. He drives it in the gap out there, slicing away from Span as it got toward the warning track, and man in scoring position for Milwaukee with 2 outs.
Well, and a decision for Ron Renicky with the pitcher spot coming up. Loesch is out. He's back in the background putting his gear away, and it's going to be Ricky Weeks to pinch hit. Renicky going to take a shot at it in this 5th inning. So Loesch will exit after 5, giving up 3 runs, 2 of them earned. Really battled his way through this game today. Could have been a whole lot worse. Brewers didn't play well defensively. But now the Brewers have a chance to help him out a little bit. See if Weeks can catch a mistake.
Loesch did a nice job with not his best stuff to keep this game within striking distance for the Brewers. It's going to be an early entrance into the game for Axford in the 6th.
Runner at second, 2 outs, and Weeks down 0-2. Ricky's been swinging the bat well in this series. Has 3 doubles. 1 for 4 yesterday. He's batting .215. Weeks doesn't pinch hit that often. He's 1 for 7 this year as a pinch hitter.
On the first 2 games of the series, his first at bat, he's been able to double, so maybe he'll do it again today.
Yeah, you wonder if that went into the thinking of Ron Renicky. Well, there's only been 2 hits today. Taylor Jordan's been tough, and Weeks pops it up over his Lombardozzi foul territory to make the play, and the side is retired. Brewers will have a new pitcher. Axford coming in. We go to the 6th. Today at the other sausage races. Kids are enjoying themselves at Miller Park. Hey, Paul Emick scours the internet to find the best tweets from Wisconsin athletes. You can check out his top 10 tweets every Friday at foxsportswisconsin.com. A good crowd on hand today. The Brewers are down 3-1. Harvey Keene bobblehead day here at Miller Park. And the numbers on John Axford as we go to the 6th.
Well, the X-Man in game number 54. He's been in a number of games this year. A .420 earned run average. He was able to get that ERA well below 4. He struggled a bit lately. Last pitched on Friday against the Nationals. Pitched 2/3 of an inning. Gave up a couple of hits. No runs. And John Axford in this game early, normally a little bit later, but the 6th inning for Axe.
Kyle Loesch goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs allowed, 2 earned. And the Brewers will hope to take him off the hook for the loss. Offense has been a struggle for Milwaukee in this series. There's 1 run on the board today. They were shut out yesterday on 4 hits. Only had 11 hits so far in the first 3 games. And the Brewers have scored just 2 runs in this series. LaRoche leads the way. Little half swing. He's able to check it.
Man, it's not like the Nationals are tearing the cover off the baseball. They're not swinging the bats well themselves. I mean, very low scoring game so far in this series. They better turn that around quickly. They leave Milwaukee and have a 3-game series against the Braves. That's a big series for Washington.
Well, the Nationals start the day 11.5 back, and I think the more realistic standings they are looking at is the National League wild card standings, and Washington right now 6.5 games back of the Cincinnati Reds, who occupy the 2nd wild card position. LaRoche in the air, deep right center field. That is way back. And gone. A home run for Adam LaRoche. That was hit a ton. And he has homered in consecutive games.
He got a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and knocked it out of here. I mean, a no-doubter. There's your fastball, straight as a string. It's middle in, and LaRoche gets the bat head out on it and knocks it out of here on a 3-1 pitch. John Axford got behind in the count. LaRoche looking fastball, got it, and hit the home run.
John Axford in a really tough window right now. He has given up a lot of runs lately and a lot of home runs lately. After going along so well for the Brewers. Had a rough first week of the season, then settled down. He was taken out of the closer's role. He ended up having a good stretch of 2.5 months. But he is back in a pitching slump right now. And you know, Renick's trying to get him through this, and he's been pitching in some what they call low leverage innings early in games, coming in here in the 6th inning today. That ball is hit well to right, but Schaefer is there for it. Desmond retired.
Yeah, with as much as this Brewers bullpen has been used this year, and Ron Renick really has no choice. He's been managing it very well, not really laying too much work on any one or two guys, spreading it out pretty well. But you know, there have been stretches throughout the season where this bullpen has picked up the lion's share of the innings in games, and they've been performing beautifully. But you got to wonder, at some point it's going to catch up to them, and maybe that's where Axford is right now.
Axford has given up at least 1 earned run in 4 of his last 5 outings. He gave up a couple of inherited runs in his last time out. So while he wasn't charged with an earned run, he lasted just 2/3 of an inning. That road trip to Colorado, that's when things started to go south for him a little bit. Axford has gotten his ERA down to 3.38, which was amazing when you consider that Axford gave up 9 earned runs in his first 4 outings of the year.
It takes all that time and all that work to get that earned run average down, but it doesn't take very long to get it back up, does it? I mean, that's the way it is. That's why that ERA when you're in the bullpen is sometimes a very unfair stat. The more important statistic for a relief pitcher, particularly a guy that comes in the middle of an inning, is inherited runners.
And Axford has inherited 17 runners. 7 of those have scored, and 3 of those have come in the last week. There's a good curveball, and he strikes out Lombardozzi for out number 2.
That's a good curveball right there. That's the one he's been looking for, and able to get it down and in. Lombardozzi really never felt very comfortable, or at least it didn't look comfortable in that at bat. And John Axford makes a good pitch to put him away.
Two outs, and here is Kurt Suzuki. Nationals lead 4-1. You think about Axford's season, he gave up 9 earned runs in the first 3 1/3 innings. So after the first 4 outings, 9 earned runs, more than 1/3 of the runs he has allowed all season. That home run by LaRoche was his 22nd earned run allowed. 9 of them coming in that first stretch, and then he was fantastic for a long period of time. There was a stretch for Axford where he went unscored upon in 31 of 32 appearances from mid-May to the 3rd week of July. Gave up just 1 earned run in that stretch.
Well, command of the breaking pitch, particularly the slider. That was the pitch that he kind of broke out after he had his struggles early on, and that slider, a pitch that he's more able to throw for strikes as opposed to the curveball.
Bouncing ball to Segura. And after the home run, Axford retires the next 3 in order, but LaRoche gives the Nationals a 4-1 lead. Wisconsin is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Famous racing sausages, and every Sunday you get the little weenies in action. And the chorizo with the long strides coming up big today on a Sunday.
Nice back-to-back little weenies in action. They were out there yesterday, weren't they?
They sure were. Yeah, all the parents on the field. Man, it's a great time. I tell you, I didn't grow up in a city that had a major league team. You had to drive 3 hours to go to a Major League Baseball game, but you know, what a thrill to be that young, to be able to have access to a ballpark like this.
Yeah.
And to be able to come watch a little Major League Baseball. And they come from all over Wisconsin to do it.
And the Brewers organization embraces that and allows you know, fans to get involved on the field and in a lot of different ways. They have a base run today. I think every Sunday is usually a base run. I don't want to speak out of turn, but usually it's the kids get to run the bases on Sundays.
Bottom of the 6th inning, Logan Schaefer leads off. You've got a live instructional today.
Yes.
You have to work around the base running, or
Yep.
maybe you'll do an instructional on base running with the kids.
Maybe. Davey and I'll just start sprinting around the bases.
Right. I think that would be great. Running over kids. Grandpa's coming through.
Yeah. You can say that now.
Yeah, you can. Grandpa Schroeder.
Yeah. Love it.
What's little Maddie? What are we calling you these days? Is that a peepaw or a pawpaw?
She's not talking yet, so she hasn't really determined what I am. Other than the old guy that makes funny noises and funny faces.
Nice. And most of the time without even trying.
Right.
Just being yourself.
Just watching TV every night. I highly recommend the grandfather thing.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you have some time for it.
Yeah,
but,
I'm not real interested in that right now.
Nothing like it.
Think about you and this organization, though. When you came up to the Brewers and you had young kids.
Yeah, right.
Now you're You're still here and you have grandkids.
Right. Isn't that something?
It's nice.
Who would have thought? Been fun. Been great.
They keep us young, and we think we're teaching our kids a lot, but we're actually learning more by the way they look at life.
Yeah.
Brewers trying to get their offense going here. Give the grown-ups something to cheer about. Schaefer, Segura, and Lucroy leading the way. Hitters count for Schaefer. And that one's up the middle, off the glove of Desmond. He took one reach at it, had to come up with it cleanly. It was going to be a tough play anyway. Schaefer runs very well, and that's going to be an infield hit.
Yeah, hit that one hard, but yeah, it looked like Desmond thought he was going to be able to get there and make the throw. He knew he had to be quick to get rid of it. Schaefer very fair. It looked like he was spinning around trying to get ready to make a throw. Just off the end of the glove, so a leadoff base runner for the Brewers. The first time that's happened tonight or today.
Brewers have just 3 hits. Now Segura. Now the Nationals have a lot of very good starting pitching. They are extremely deep. Dipping into the ranks for Taylor Jordan. He is the 10th pitcher drafted and developed by the Nationals to start a game this year. And that's starting to read like a who's who on that list. You got guys like Jordan Zimmerman, Steven Strasburg, Stammen, Ross Detweiler. They've done a good job with their pitching, their player development ranks. Segura with a base hit to right. Schaefer on his way to third. Segura thinking about 2. He's on his way, and he's in there with a hustle double. Gene Segura flying around the bases, knowing that Wirth is a little hobbled by that hamstring tightness, and he's able to take second base, and now the Brewers in business in the 6th.
They have 15 double in the season for Gene Segura. Beautiful approach going to the opposite field, and the only way you're able to get a double on that is thinking about 2 right out of the batter's box, and Segura screaming around first, never thought about slowing down. Brewers set up nicely in the 6th. First 2 reach.
And it'll bring the tying run to the plate in Jonathan Lucroy. That springs the Nationals bullpen into action as Kurt Suzuki, a quick visit to the mound. Jordan's pitch count in very good shape. He's only at 78. But for the first time today, the Brewers have strung together back-to-back hits. And the first time all day they've had 2 base runners in an inning. And the best hitter the Brewers have with runners in scoring position is at the plate in Lucroy. Oh, 0-1 to Lucroy. Count evens at a ball and a strike.
This is ordinary when Lucroy tries to get a pitch early in the count to try and drive out of here. I mean, he can hit him out in any direction in this ballpark. Stays on the baseball well. He got robbed of extra bases in the first inning by Bryce Harper.
A lot of speed on the bags. Schaefer at third, Segura at second. And Lucroy takes a ball high. 2-1 now. Second time the Brewers has faced Taylor Jordan. He pitched well against Milwaukee and DC on the 4th of July. Actually left the game with a chance to win. Carlos Gomez hit a late home run to tie it that day. Brewers split that 4-game series with the Nationals. 2-1. 3 balls and a strike.
In these situations, Washington has been very careful with Lucroy at the plate. It seems as though they're pitching around them. They have first base open, although there's nobody out. And that's why they've been careful in these spots. Lucroy hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position.
In a hitter's count. And it's ball 4. So Jordan walks Lucroy. And now the fire burning extremely hot with the bases loaded. See the pitches by inning for Taylor Jordan. He's been very efficient, but he's sitting at 13 pitches here in the 6th inning, and he has nobody out. Fernando Abad in the bullpen. Spin Williams is the acting pitching coach of the Nationals. Their regular pitching coach has been in the hospital, Steve McCaddy. He is scheduled to rejoin the ball club tomorrow. And the pitching coordinator, a quick visit with his young arm. And now Carlos Gomez steps into a big spot. Tying runners at first, nobody out. Gomez, the club leader in home runs, and the cleanup hitter in today's lineup, hoping to do just that. Gomez to right. Worth is there. Schaefer's going to tag, as is Segura. Schaefer will score. And the Brewers add another one. So it's 4-2 Washington. Tough break for Gomez. He hit that right on a line, but right at Worth.
Their first pitch up in the strike zone and hit it hard, but Worth standing right there. And that's the 8th fly ball out for the Brewers. And ordinarily, Taylor Jordan doesn't give up that many fly ball outs. This pitch up in the zone, relatively straight, and Gomez hits it hard, but right at Worth. When that ball gets down the line there in the gap, we'll probably have a tie game.
Well, 2 runners able to advance. Brewers score their 2nd run on an out. It was a ground out that produced the 1st run. And so 1 out with runners at the corners. Jordan is coming out. Davey Johnson going to his bullpen. We'll take a break.
welcome the Brewers back after a long road trip and celebrate Bernie's birthday. Because on Friday, August 16th, your Brewers will take on the Reds at 7:10 p.m. And as part of the birthday weekend at Bernie's, the first 20,000 fans will receive a Southwest Airlines Bernie Brewer can koozie. Visit brewers.com/Bernie40. Hard to believe Bernie's going to be 40, and fans would love nothing more than to see Caleb Gindel send Bernie down his slide with runners at the corners here.
Yeah, Caleb Gindel looks like Sophia's going to be pulled back for a pinch hitter now that Abad has been announced. There's Chris Davis, and Ron Renicky will make the move here to get the matchup. Davey Johnson with a double switch. Anthony Rendon comes in to play second base, and he will hit in the 9th spot of the order, so he'll lead off in the 7th. So Abad, the left-hander, will face Chris Davis with runners at the corners and 1 out.
Yeah, Abad's been very good since being called up at the end of May. He's only walked 4 and struck out 23 in his time with the Nationals, a 148 earned run average in 26 games. One of 2 lefties down in that Nationals pen.
Now, Davis has the kind of pop that could give the Brewers the lead with 1 swing of the bat. Oh, he took a shot at it against the Cubs last week, part of that doubleheader against a lefty, James Russell. Davis, with the Brewers down 5-2, hit 1 out, a 3-run home run to tie the game. Brewers would take the lead on a Segura double in that game and go on to win. That was quite a comeback. And a doubleheader sweep of the Cubs. Big bouncing ball over the head of Zimmerman. Desmond has it in his glove, but nowhere to go. Infield hit, RBI for Chris Davis. And the Brewers are within a run.
Yeah, the danger of playing in like that. Not sure what the Nationals were thinking there. Davis really not a threat to bunt. Even with the bag and creeping in and not able to get it. I don't get that defensive alignment. But the Brewers able to pick up another run. They're within 1 now, 4-3.
Well, Segura, who had the double, scores the run, the 3rd run. 2 are in. And still runners at first and second. Still 1 out. Chris Davis with a pinch hit RBI single. And here is Juan Francisco. He had a big cut.
He had a good one to hit too. 93 miles an hour for Abad. And he has a slider to go with it. Francisco had one to hit.
Francisco drove in a run with a ground out back in the 2nd inning. He's 0 for 2 today. Brewers trying to take Kyle Loesch off the hook. When 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 earned. Brewers did not play well defensively behind him. And Loesch had a grinder of a start. He was in a big mess in the 2nd. 3 runs were in. Still had a couple of runners out there with just 1 out, and he was able to get through it. Got out of a jam in the 3rd and then ended up going 5. And now the Brewers knocking at the door to perhaps take the lead here. Got the go-ahead run at first base. 2-2.
Breaking ball to Francisco on a 2-1 count. That looked, it might have been low.
Lucroy at second, and a bouncer fair. That is over the bag. In to score Lucroy. Davis will be held around 3rd as Francisco slides into 2nd with a double.
Boy, barely fair down that line.
All tied up on a double and an RBI by Francisco.
And David Rackley, the first base umpire, having a chat with LaRoche. There's a great angle right here. Ball bounces before the bag. Boy, that's close, huh? Wow. Bounces right in front of first base. And that wasn't fair by much. The Brewers able to tie it up. Good at bat again for Juan Francisco. His second RBI.
Yeah, first base umpire David Rackley saying that ball just cut across the front of the base. Now, if it clears the base, it is fair, and that is what Davey Johnson is asking about.
The ball bounces twice in front of the bag. Now look at Rackley. He's right on top of it. Even if the baseball, it bounces on the line right there. And boy, he's right on it. I mean, that could have gone either way. That was close.
Wow, very close. Brewers might have got a break. They'll take it. He had the best look at it. So now second and third with one out. The Brewers can take the lead here. As Jeff Bianchi aggressively after Abad.
He likes that first pitch fastball and there's men on base.
I'm a little surprised that Davey Johnson not going to his bullpen here. He has a right-hander warming up. But there was nobody ready to come in to face Bianchi.
Well, you got Jeanette on deck. Yeah, the double switch, and I would think that the Nationals were thinking about multiple innings as Craig Stammen gets loose.
Well, now the Brewers have the matchup in their favor. That's why that Francisco double is so big. The lefty on lefty matchup. Bianchi, a line drive foul. A little soft liner off a broken bat.
Look out, Eddie. Eddie getting down. Not hit hard enough to fool him. Not even close, actually. What are you ducking for, Eddie? I don't blame him.
He's just trying to make Bianchi feel good. That, you know, such a wicked line drive. He had to duck out of the way.
Right.
You don't want him up there, you know, catching it with his bare hand. 0-2 now to Bianchi. Into center field. Little flare. That's going to fall. Davis scores. Francisco coming home. And he is safe. What a slide by Francisco. Just touching the back point of the plate. Beating the tag, and the Brewers up 6-4.
Well, the danger of bringing the infield in, especially when you're at a couple of men on. So what an inning for Milwaukee. You know, two of the RBI hits have not even gone into the outfield. And look at this one. Rendon going back. He thinks he has a pretty good shot at Francisco, but boy, Juan with a great slide. He touches the plate with his hand. If he goes in there straight, he's probably out. And again, why is Kurt Suzuki so far in front of home plate?
Man.
And that's why Francisco was able to get in there safely.
That was a beautiful slide right there. Textbook to squeeze another run out of it.
Yep.
2 RBI single by Bianchi.
A 5-run 6th inning. Nice.
And still just one out. The out was a sacrifice fly by Gomez as Abad comes high and tight on Jeanette. You make a good point about Suzuki, though. We saw that with Lucroy last night. The throw, I thought it was a pretty good throw from Rendon.
Yep,
But Suzuki was so far out in front. We talk about that a lot with infielders. As Jeanette pops it up. Foul territory playable for Suzuki for the second out.
And a lot of organizations, though, have told their catchers, I don't want you standing in front of home plate. I don't want you to risk injury and be out for the season. I think it all goes back to that Buster Posey play a couple of years ago. Well, you saw Suzuki way in front of home plate. Now, if he's sticking that foot in front of home plate, like a lot of guys would, he would not have to reach back and make this tag. And Francisco would have been an easy out at home plate. But you see a lot of catchers do that. They don't block the plate much anymore.
And it looked like that ball had plenty of velocity behind it to carry. You know, we're talking about a foot maybe. Talk about shortstops taking a throw on a caught stealing, you know, on a stolen base attempt. you go reach out and catch it, that slows you down as you make a tag, as opposed to letting the ball travel into the base runner.
Although I think any catcher would think twice about trying to block off Juan Francisco.
I think you're right.
Go ahead. It's only one run. I want to keep my head on my shoulders.
I was not expecting a slide like that from Francisco. That was a nimble maneuver at the end as Betancourt, the pinch hitter, is down 0-2. Little flare, shallow right, tough play, and Rendon makes the catch. Wow. That was a great play by the National second baseman. Juan Francisco doing damage. Got 2 RBIs, has a double, and a beautiful slide as the Brewers take a 6-4 lead.
Doing their best Harvey's Wallbangers impression to score 5 runs in the 6th. They now lead at 6-4, and so that leads to the results of our AT&T Twitter poll asking fans to weigh in on who is the best hitter of Harvey's Wallbangers. And a split between Paul Molitor and Robin Yount, each taking 29%. Gorman Thomas, Cecil Cooper not far behind, 21%. That was a group that scored nearly 900 runs on 1,600 hits, and good to finally see the Brewers bats come alive there in the 6th, BA.
Indeed it was. Brewers went 23 innings in the series, scoring just 2 runs, and then they just erupted for 5 in the 6th inning, and now have the lead 6-4. Chris Davis will stay in and played left field, had an infield hit and an RBI. Michael Gonzalez on the mound for the Brewers. He is the league leader in games pitched. This is his 56th outing of the year.
Yeah, gave up a run his last time out on Friday against the Nats. Had a rough stretch in his last 5 times out. Had that earned run average all the way down to 288 at one point. And looking to get a scoreless inning. He got some left-handers to deal with after Rendon.
Rendon came in on the double switch, just made a terrific catch over the shoulder. Rendon, Span, and Bryce Harper due up in the 7th inning. Brewers taking Kyle Loesch off the hook for a loss. John Axford now in line for a win if the bullpen can take it the rest of the way. Two and Rendon launches one to left. Davis at the wall, and it is gone. And just like that, the Nationals right back at it. Rendon's bat starting to heat up. They've been mired in a long slump at the plate, but he homers. His 5th home run of his big league career.
Just got into the ball game, made a great catch down the line and right, and hits a leadoff home run in the 7th. Slider to Rendon, left it down the middle of the plate. Goes down and gets it, golfs it out of here. Down and in, and he got the big part of the bat on it, and Chris Davis running out of room.
6-5 Milwaukee. Top of the order up when Denard Span. Normally Gonzalez would pitch the 8th inning, be more of a true setup role, but the way the lineup shakes out with back-to-back lefties and Span and Harper coming up this inning, Gonzalez gets the early call, and there's a strike to Span.
And Brandon Kinsler getting loose. I mean, I don't think there's anybody right now in the Brewers bullpen throwing any better than Kinsler, which is why his status has been elevated.
Two and two to Span, who is 0 for 3. Span with 1 hit in this series. Gonzalez rocks and delivers a called strike 3. Span is rung up, first out of the inning as a backwards K. Our Ho Chunk Gaming text question today comes from Martha. Who is the best young player in Major League Baseball? As Bryce Harper comes to the plate.
Well, there's a lot of young players in baseball, and a lot of them having some pretty good years, Gene Segura included. I think the nature of the question and when it was asked with Bryce Harper at the plate gives you a sense of what the truck's thinking.
Just an option. Well, and Mike Trout is certainly on that list, but the one guy that kind of, I wouldn't say he's off the radar because he was an all-star this year, but Manny Machado of the Orioles is one of the great young talents. He's only 21 years old, and I've seen the Orioles a couple of times this year, and this guy is incredible defensively at third base. He's a shortstop by trade, and he hits, and he's certainly in that discussion.
Yeah, Puig's off to a good start in LA.
Yeah, there's a good one.
How about that young pitcher in Miami, Fernandez?
Yep, Jose Fernandez. He had a 14 strikeout game on Friday. At 20 years of age, he was an all-star this year too.
Yeah, when you're talking about young, you're talking about real young. You're talking about 20, 21, 22-year-olds. It's kind of where the game is right now. A lot of young players coming up early and making an impact.
Harper was in the big leagues as a 19-year-old last year. Out in front, and a fly ball to Gomez right off the end of the bat for out number 2.
Yeah, you might see Brandon Kinsler now with the right-handers coming up. You got a couple of them. Get Zimmerman and then pitch the 8th.
And Renicky pops out of the dugout. 2 outs in the inning, and a stretch of right-handers coming up. Renicky will make the move here now that the Brewers are just 1 run ahead. So Gonzalez gives up a homer to Rendon, gets the next 2 batters, and he'll head for the dugout. We'll take a break. Toyota as we play in the Nationals 7th inning. Taylor Jordan went 5 1/3, gave up 4 earned runs when it was all said and done. His bullpen didn't pick him up, and the Brewers found themselves trailing 4-1 after Adam LaRoche went deep in the 6th inning. That was all John Axford, but came roaring back in the bottom of the 6th. A 5-run inning. RBIs from Gomez, Davis, had Juan Francisco with a double, and then Francisco was able to score on a 2 RBI single by Jeff Bianchi. Just sneaking a hand in there. And a 5-run inning, giving the Brewers at the time a 2-run lead. It is now a 6-5 lead as Gonzalez is taken out with Ryan Zimmerman coming in. Here's Brandon Kinsler.
Yeah, outstanding numbers for Kinsler. 45th appearance, and has not allowed his run in his last 10 appearances. That covers 12 2/3 innings. Pitched on Friday against the Nationals. Tossed a 3-up, 3-down inning.
Kinsler facing Ryan Zimmerman, who is 1 for 2 with a walk today. And he's ahead of him, 0-2. So this is where Renicky takes the gamble, goes with the matchup with the big hitters coming up for the Nationals, hoping that Kinsler can not only get through this 7th, but also work the 8th, setting up Henderson. Big chopper coming in. Jeanette throws, and it is in time for the out. Well done, Scooter Jeanette. Kinsler makes it look easy, and the Brewers will head to the bottom of the 7th with the lead. We turn it over to Rob Edwards. Miller Park's presentation of God Bless America.
The singing of God Bless America, led this afternoon by Matt Joyce from Potawatomi Bingo Casino.
Jesus is Savior. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet
Bleed and at Miller Park every Friday is a $15 Fair Friday. Get one Terrace Reserve ticket to any Friday Brewers game and one general admission ticket to the Wisconsin State Fair presented by U.S. Cellular for just $15. Visit brewers.com/State Fair for details. And even some of the Brewers took in the State Fair earlier this week. Donovan Hand spent the off day there taking in some pig racing, and John Axford yesterday on Twitter had some fans deliver a dozen Krispy Kreme burgers. So
nice.
The Brewers like the State Fair just like we do.
Yes, I saw Axford's tweet about that, doing a little negotiating for some Krispy Kreme burgers. There's Craig Stammen appearing for the 37th time. Davey Johnson went with the left-hander Abad through the entire inning last inning. And now Stammen has the bottom of the 7th. Logan Schaefer leads off, then Segura, and then Lucroy. After the Brewers batted around in the 6th inning, scoring 5 runs. Schaefer into right, and that's down, a base hit. So Logan Schaefer coming up with hits in his last 2 plate appearances.
Well, the Brewers back-to-back innings getting the leadoff hitter aboard, and Schaefer got things going in the 6th. Hit that one hard.
Gene Segura at the plate today, presented by Wendy's. He was a big part of that rally in the 6th. He doubled and scored. And that was a hustle double. He drove one to the opposite field. Jason Wirtz is not moving around well.
And he's playing deep out there. He's been playing deep out there the entire series.
Wirtz had to come out of yesterday's game. He's been dealing with some hamstring problems. He was on the DL for that reason. And I'm sure Segura has done his homework, and he saw Wirth go after that baseball. And he was thinking double all the way and made it easily. (6-5) Milwaukee. They were down 3-0 after a 3-run second. They got one of those back in the bottom of the 2nd, and then fell behind 4-1 until the 5-run inning last inning. No balls, 2 strikes on Segura. Hitting .314 for the season. Entrenched in the top 10 in the league in batting.
And he's been there all season. Has been very consistent. I don't think anybody thought he was going to hit .360. He got off to a great start, but still able to keep that average well over 300.
He's 6th in the league in batting. Chris Johnson is the league leader with the Braves. He's hitting .344. Not bad for a guy who was considered as a quote-unquote throw-in in the Justin Upton trade.
Right.
That's a pretty good throw-in, starting at 3rd base. And the Braves are rolling along. They've won 9 straight. Atlanta. There goes Schaefer. Pitches inside. No throw by Suzuki.
Didn't have a grip on it. I'll tell you, look at Schaefer. Looked like he wanted to go the entire at bat. I mean, he just had that look about him when he was taking his lead. And once he got a good jump, he took off, and Suzuki couldn't get a grip on the baseball and decided to hold on to it.
Stolen base number 5. Been caught just once. Into scoring position for Segura. One ball, 2 strikes on Segura. And he lays off a breaking pitch. Nice block back there by Suzuki. Those are plays that don't show up in the box score, but they are so important for an inning. You make a block like that. If he doesn't block that ball, you got a runner at 3rd and nobody out, and then that forces the infield in, changes everything.
Yeah, those are pitches that you have to block. If you can't block those pitches, you don't belong in the big leagues.
Foul ball. Segura hanging in there. 2-2.
That's something that catchers don't get any pats on the back for, and nobody says a whole lot about him. There's no way to chronicle that in the box score, but certainly a big play when a catcher is able to keep a ball in front of him like that.
Not to mention the confidence of the pitcher, who knows his catcher is going to make those plays. It allows you to really snap off that breaking ball.
Pitchers has to be able to know that a catcher is going to block that pitch. You can't be throwing breaking balls and hanging them for fear of ball going to the backstop. You got to be able to keep it in front of you. And Kurt Suzuki, one of the best. You don't hear a lot about this guy. He spent a lot of time with the Mariners over in the West Coast, and now a backup, but a solid defender.
And another one that is in the dirt. That was too hot to handle for Suzuki.
Yeah, but still able to get a piece of it. I see Kurt Suzuki, a member of the Oakland A's, not the Mariners.
This was a tough one here.
Yeah, this one's in front of home plate. I mean, all bets are off when a ball bounces 3 feet in front of home plate. There's not much you can do.
Pitcher deserves that wild pitch. Sometimes they don't, but this time he did. And now the infield is in. Schaefer's at third. Full count to Segura. He was down 0-2. And Segura, bouncer to Desmond. And a low throw dug out by LaRoche. It's a nice play over there by Adam LaRoche for the out. First out of the inning.
And don't be surprised if the Nationals pitch around Lucroy once again, and they might even just put him on. They have been avoiding Lucroy the entire series in these situations. Not too many better than Lucroy in these spots. Might not put him on because of Gomez on deck. But it seems as though they prefer to deal with Gomez as opposed to Lucroy.
The unintentional intentional walks. A lot of breaking balls. Lucroy hasn't chased. Has a walk today. Walked and scored last inning.
Of course, you don't want Lucroy to set up the double play with Gomez coming up. He's a tough guy to double up.
Lucroy had a couple of walks on Friday, had one yesterday, and one last inning. He's 0 for 2. Infield still in, and a breaking ball in the dirt. Brewers trying to get the run back. Nationals with the home run off the bat of Rendon in the top of the inning. Two and 0 to Lucroy. And he pulls one. Oh, great play, Zimmerman. Throw to first is in time for the out, but a run will score. What a play by Ryan Zimmerman. Takes a double away from Lucroy. He'll still get credit for the RBI. And the Brewers have a 7-5 lead.
And look at the base running by Schaefer, right on contact. He's on his way to home plate, but tough part of this play is the throw for Zimmerman. I mean, he's a great defender, but has a tough time with those throws. That run by the Brewers, our Badger Mutual Insurance run of the game. An RBI ground out by Jonathan Lucroy.
Well, former Gold Glove Award winner in the National League at third base. So 2 outs, bases empty for Gomez. Carlos had a sac fly last inning. Now 53 runs batted in. And into center field for Denard Span to end the inning. But the Brewers add to it. They get a single, a stolen base. It was a wild pitch. Lucroy with the RBI. today and using his wheels to come around to score after a single and a stolen base. Ended up at third on a wild pitch, and the Brewers now lead 7-5. Our shining moment of the game brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic. We take you back to a terrific play by Gene Segura, a 6-3 double play for Segura that helped Kyle Loesch along. That was in the 5th inning on a batted ball by Jason Worth.
The kid's been amazing this year. I mean, his mobility and range and throwing arm at shortstop, and what a surprise he's been.
First time All-Star this season and his first full season in the big leagues. Jason Worth leads off. Kinsler is back out there for his 2nd inning. Retired Ryan Zimmerman in the 7th inning to end the frame. Only batter he faced, and now trying to take it to the 9th. Ron Renicky is supremely confident in Brandon Kinsler at this point, and from a guy who used to pitch in games where the Brewers were either tied or behind, he would be in the 6th or the 7th inning. He has now emerged as one of the late inning relievers with a lead. As Worth, a little cue shot to right. Schaefer is coming in. That's going to fall, a base hit. A little flare that falls.
Everything to right field for Jason Worth just about this entire series. Even that pitch looked like a fastball down and in. He just pulls the hands in and kind of serves it out to right field. Watch where this pitch is and watch where it ends up. I mean, that's hard to do. I mean, that ball was down and in, and he just kind of pulls the hands in and just dumps it out there into right field.
That is now 7 hits in the series for Worth. 2 more today. Had 2 yesterday and 3 in the opener. And here is Adam LaRoche, a home run hitter representing the tying run. LaRoche is 1 for 3. And his 16th homer of the year in the 6th. And a big matchup for Brandon Kinsler. And for more on Kinsler, we check in with Sophia.
Well, when the Brewers played the Nationals on the 4th of July, Kinsler gave up a home run, and the Brewers went on to lose that game 8-5. And he said he was extremely disappointed in himself, felt like he failed himself and the team. So to get back on track, he has turned a lot to Michael Gonzalez. He said they talk a lot about pitching and routine, mental preparation, and he said they pump each other up a lot in the bullpen. He told me that Gonzalez gets him so fired up that by the time he walks out of the bullpen, he makes him feel like he's the best pitcher alive. Kinsler since then has gone unscored upon in 16 of his last 17.
Yeah, let's hope he can keep that going. And a reliever is the one position on the field where you can take a little bit of that football mentality into a game. No short burst. I tell you, the one thing that I've noticed from Kinsler that has probably been as much of his success as anything is the fact he's willing to throw his changeup, and a very good changeup, to left-handed batters.
Yeah, you might see it right here. And that bullpen, that whole bullpen environment is so much different. It's so removed from the stress and all that's going on in that dugout, you know, during the game, all the anxiety that's in that dugout. Those guys have a world of their own down there. They keep themselves relaxed. I mean, it's amazing to watch every guy in that bullpen, different parts of the game, that they are really fixated on what's going on. You got your long relievers and middle relievers guys starting to really bear down, you know, early in the ball game, and then once the game gets by the 6th inning, those guys kind of relax a little bit, and it's the late relievers that starting to get geared up.
There's a swing and a miss. Kinsler strikes out LaRoche. A power sinker from Brandon Kinsler, and the first out of the inning.
He keeps it down in the strike zone and gets it going away from LaRoche. Pitch out of the strike zone. LaRoche chases it with 2 strikes. That's a good moving fastball from Kinsler.
Well, here is Ian Desmond now, another power hitter. And a bouncing ball. Bianchi goes to second for 1. The turn In time, double play. Brandon Kinsler keeps it rolling. Nicely turned double play as the Brewers go around the horn to end the 8th. On our way to the bottom of the 8th inning, Ron Renicke's crew with a comeback today and trying to finish it off, salvage the final game of this series with the Nationals, a 5-run 6th inning. And Chris Davis was a big part of that. This is his 2nd plate appearance. He had an infield hit and an RBI in that inning. First ball swinging against Stammen, and a high throw into the dugout, and Davis will be sent to second base. A throwing error by Ian Desmond, who just bounced into a double play to end the last inning.
About as routine as it gets, and just airmails Adam LaRoche into the dugout, and now the Brewers have a man in scoring position. That'll be a very nice insurance run for Jim Henderson.
That'll be an E6, 12th error of the season for Desmond.
Just unforced, errors that are hard to figure. Routine ground ball, and he throws it away. Kind of things that Nats have been doing all year.
Well, here's Francisco now, who's had a big day. 2 RBIs, scored a run, drove in the first Brewers run in the 2nd on a ground out, but it came with 2 strikes. He got down in the count early, and then he had a double to drive in a run in the 6th inning. They'll chop her out to second, and Rendon will take care of Francisco as he advances Chris Davis to third.
Think about all the opportunities the Brewers have had with runners in scoring position today. They were 3 for 3 in the 6th inning. All 3 hits drove in runs. 2 of the outs that they've made with runners in scoring position today have scored runs. Francisco with a ground out, and Lucroy with a ground out. So very productive.
And that set up Bianchi in the 6th inning with the game tied after Francisco's double. Bianchi was able to drive in 2 with that little flare to center field. Giving the Brewers the lead. Squeeze is on, perfectly executed, and the Brewers lead it 8-5 on a suicide squeeze bunt by Bianchi, his 3rd RBI of the day.
The Brewers have executed beautifully today. just about every opportunity that they have had to score a run, they have been able to do it. And here it is. It's on, and Davis takes off at a perfect time. You know, you give away that squeeze a little bit too early by breaking too early, and pretty good chance that the hitter's not going to get a pitch to bunt, and Bianchi gets it down. There's that insurance run we were talking about.
And a 3-run lead now, and the error costly for the Nationals. And here's Scooter Gennett.
You talk about the tale of two games today. The Brewers could not have played worse early in the game, and as the game went on, they continued to play better. And just the opposite for the Nationals. They have played very poor defensively in the latter part of this game.
Yeah, you got to give Kyle Loesch a lot of credit. He worked through some poor defense behind him. He hit a couple of batters, part of that 3-run second. Had 2 on with nobody out in the third that he got out of. And kept the Brewers in striking distance. Don't forget our post-game instructional live on the field at Miller Park tonight. Brock and Davey will have that for you. Part of our Brewers live post-game coverage.
Yeah, we're going to be out in right field. Kids are going to be running the bases. So Davey and I are going to be covering communication between the right fielder and second baseman.
Did you say something, Rod?
No, just ignore me.
Communication. Henderson up for the save next.
Brewers now an 8-5 lead. Jeff Bianchi helping out with the squeeze, and Milwaukee now needs 3 more outs to break a 3-game losing streak. Jim Henderson about to take the mound, looking for another save. He's got 4 since the trade of Francisco Rodriguez.
That's right. He's taken over as the closer, which he was the closer before he got hurt. But I'll tell you, this guy has been outstanding. Great fastball, good slider, and he's been having great command.
And for Jim Henderson, our Columbia St. Mary's save tracker, 14 on the season, looking for 15 here and trying to send a Miller Park crowd home happy and get a road trip started out on the right foot. 9 more to go on the road, guys.
All right, Craig, thank you. And the Brewers 38-0 when leading after 8 innings. The only team in the major leagues without a loss when they have an 8th inning lead. Jim Henderson's been a big part of that. 14 out of 17 in saves. The 3 blown saves all came in the 8th inning. He does not have a 9th inning blown save this year. Those 3 blown saves came after the injury when he was pitching in a setup role. Nori Aoki will take over in right as Renicky solidifies his defense. That moves Schaefer over to left. Chris Davis is out. Chad Tracy is the pinch hitter, leading off for Washington. Brewers have been able to dig this game out of the dirt. It was not going well early through the first 4 innings. Kyle Loesch rallied, went through 5, and then that big 5-run 6th inning.
It's only fitting that on Harvey Keene bobblehead day, the Brewers drop a snowman on the Nationals.
Nice.
Harvey's wall bangers.
That team was good for a few 8-run ball games throughout the course of a season.
That's right.
Yeah, a couple of snowmen up there, actually. 3 of them. 8 runs, 8 hits for the Brewers. The Nationals have 8 hits. Got to give Brandon Kinsler a lot of credit as well, because Loesch went 5 and the opportunity presented itself for Renicky to use a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 5th. That sent Renicky into his early bullpen. So Axford worked an inning, gave up a run. Gonzalez gave up a home run, and the Nationals were within a run. So Kinsler was called on to get out of the 7th. As Henderson strikes out Tracy.
And 97 miles an hour off the outside corner, and Tracy just waves at it. Now, the real only problems that Henderson seems to have lately is with 2 outs and nobody on. Seems to be able to get to 2 outs, and then not sure what goes on with him, but has a tough time with that 3rd out. Hopefully that's not the case tonight or today.
Trying to save a victory for his countryman John Axford, who would improve to 5-4 with the win. Pitcher of record when the Brewers had the 5-run inning. But you know, for Brandon Kinsler to come into this game, you know, Washington had scored in back-to-back innings. The Brewers then had the big inning. Washington's feeling pretty good about themselves offensively, however, and they're only down 2 at that point, and Kinsler just put the fire out. Made it look easy. Did give up a hit, but faced just 4 batters, getting Desmond to bounce into a double play to win the 8th.
Yeah, that's the way he's been. I mean, Kinsler's been outstanding. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that Ron Renicky has more confidence in bringing in early in any situation.
1 ball, 1 strike on Suzuki. Nationals are headed home. They'll start a series with the Atlanta Braves tomorrow night. That'll be a big one for them. Atlanta plays Philadelphia tonight. They'll match up against Cliff Lee. Nationals are hoping for a big push in the final 2 months, but they're down 11.5 games to the Braves. Washington will face Atlanta 9 times the rest of the season, so they still have some hope of getting back in it.
Fastball in the inner half. Henderson just blows it right by Suzuki, who had the count in his favor.
Tried another one. 3-2 now. St. Louis roughed up the Reds today, 15-2. The Cardinals are on an offensive tear lately. In the last 4 games, I think they're averaging about 10 runs a game. Suzuki into left field. Logan Schaefer is there. 2 outs. Henderson is an out away from his 15th save.
Yeah, tapping the right shoulder, the right forearm, the area up there, saying that keep that shoulder closed. You're flying out. That's why he's, you know, missing inside. Part of that nonverbal communication between a pitcher and a catcher.
It's a good tip. Obviously, something Henderson has been working on. They come to their feet here. Rendon, the last hope for the Nationals. Crowd of over 35,000 and have had 3 days on this homestand, averaging over 35,000. Testament to these great fans during a rough season, enjoying the beautiful day And trying to send the Brewers on the road trip after a victory. That hit him. A hit batter with 2 outs. Will get the Nationals back to the top of their order.
Yeah, that's what happens when that front shoulder flies out. That's what Lucroy was talking about with the tap on the arm like that. We saw it a couple of pitches ago, and everything ends up and in the strike zone, and Rendon gets hit on the sleeve.
A glancing blow. The best way to get hit by a pitch. So the tying run moves to the on deck circle now. That is Bryce Harper. That's the bat you're trying to avoid. Henderson facing Bernard Span. Strike 1.
I'm a little bit surprised that Francisco is holding the runner, especially with a left-hander up. Playing in to protect against the bunt, I would imagine.
To the count.
Now he'll back up.
Runner takes off, and the pitch is away. A fastball missing away. No stolen base for Rendon. Defensive indifference to get him there. Henderson a strike away from securing a victory for the Brewers in this final game of the series. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Span. Bouncing ball off the glove, but right to Jeanette. The throw is in time. And the ball game is over, and the Brewers win 8-5. As Jim Henderson picks up the save, number 15, and the Brewers undefeated with a lead after 8. Now 39-0. Axford the winner. Henderson the save, and the Brewers will hit the road with a victory under their belt here today against the Nationals. And don't forget, the Brewers and the Giants tomorrow. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Chad Godin against Tyler Thornburg from AT&T Park. Our Brewers Live pregame show will begin at 8:30 right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Shaking hands with a victory today as we check in with Craig Kashawn, and it's time for Brewers Live. Craig?
All right, Brian, thanks very much. About time, huh? Brewers win it. They snap a 3-game losing streak, and we'll talk more about that 5-run 6th inning. Brewers certainly in need of a power surge and get it here tonight. Good pitching as well in relief. Talk about it all next.